Hey y'all, Michelle Lynn here. Hope you're having a great day. We are back in my kitchen and we are here to cook up some success. Today's topic is, are you a doormat designer? Think about that. Are you a doormat designer? And I say that with full respect. I used to be a doormat designer, so I get it. Okay, there's no judgment, like zero judgment. But the question is, are your clients walking all over you? Let's give some examples. Text message. Do your clients text you weekends, nights, and holidays? And if they do, that's on them. Okay? Do you respond? Do you feel guilty if you are not responding? Like, what does that look like for you? I got a dirty knife out on the counter. Maybe I should scoot over here. Oh well, we're keeping it real, right? So, if they're texting you weekends, nights, and holidays, and they're interrupting your personal time, you don't need to reply back to them, okay? You can reply back to them later the following day and say, sorry, I don't respond to text messages outside of work hours. And here's the question, do they even need to text you? Do they need to have your cell phone number? Now, maybe you have a business number that is your cell phone number, but you can get apps that will give you a separate business line, okay? I think Google might have one. Vonage has them. They're called, there's a bunch. There's options so that you can separate the two. So you can reply to them and say, thanks for your text. I don't respond during business hours. And if you would kindly please email me, I will be happy to get back to you. So one, the email doesn't get lost and buried like the texts. Okay, so this actually works in your favor. Two, you have much better documentation for any conversations that you have. And three, you're setting your own rules. Okay, it's your business. It's your business. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. So that's one example of a doormat, okay? Again, please don't DM me. I am not being disrespectful. I am telling you this from my own experience, So that's one example. Another example is going to be if, change orders. So do you have a process for change orders in your business? Okay, if you don't, you need to have one and put it in your contract. So change orders in your contract, it says this is how many you get and here's the process and here's what happens if we exceed it. Okay, so if you say you have one per room or you have two changes per room and they keep coming at you with what about this, what about that, what about this, what about that? If you are not following your own process and giving them a consequence for taking things down a bunny trail, then you're acting like a doormat, okay? So what do you explain to them? You explain to them in the very beginning when they sign the contract, read them the clause and just say, here's the deal. You only get one change order per room. After that, this is what happens. And here's why. Okay, explain to them why. Explain to them and say, the reason why is because if one thing changes, sometimes there's a domino effect. So you need to know that if you want to make a change, you really need to make sure that we discuss this. Okay, because if you change this and this, as you know, as an interior designer, this and this could very well affect that and that, whatever that is. Maybe they want to change the side table next to their sofa. Okay, maybe they want something bigger, but you planned to have that size so that you could get maybe a little bit smaller rug so that it doesn't need to sit on it, and therefore you met their budget. Okay, now you just explain to them, if you want a larger side table, more than likely we're going to have to get a larger rug so that you don't have one, the front feet on and the front feet back and it wobbles. They're not being jerks. But you have to explain to them some of the details, okay? So there's that. There's also if they're trying to negotiate your fees, okay? Is it your rate or is it your fee? Do you work by the hour? Do you have a flat fee? Like, what does it look like? If they're trying to negotiate your fee and you agree to it, like you agree to do more than what you're getting paid for, that might be a little doormatty, okay? So if they say something like, oh, well, while you're out here, what do you think we should do with this powder bathroom? And you start giving them ideas. No. Your response could be, oh, I can write up another scope of work for that. And then they're like, okay, hold on. So Let me also share with you that most people, like your clients, okay, most people, they're not doing it to be jerks. They're just doing it because like that's something that we all do. It's like, oh, I didn't even think about the powder bathroom. Yeah, I guess we would need to write up another scope of work. Okay, but I wouldn't have thought about that if I hadn't been in this industry. So you just have to educate them a lot. But you are not here to people please. You are here to deliver a professional service. Okay, a professional service. Just because we're individuals, okay, does not mean that our business is any less important than, corporate bigwigs. This is a business. This is not a hobby. Run it like a business. If you are feeling, let's see, what am I trying to say? You probably have heard this and you're like, ooh, yeah, I do kind of do this. Oh, I do kind of do that. Okay. These are just some small examples. I've done them all. Don't recommend them. So that's why I'm here to tell you, don't be a doormat. But this is your business. Okay. This is your business. Most of the time when you push back on a client who's giving you some pushback, most of the time they will step back and recognize and respect your boundaries. Oftentimes, sorry, I got an itchy nose. Oftentimes, we're the ones who don't respect our own boundaries. So of course we feel walked all over like a doormat. It's because we're letting them, okay? So trust your instinct, trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. So if they ask you, oh, can you just take a look at my powder bathroom and tell me what we should do with it? If that's like, that's not in my scope of work, I'm not getting paid for that, then don't do it, okay? If you get a text at 8 o'clock at night as you're winding down with your cup of tea or wine, and it annoys you, there's something wrong. Those are your boundaries. You need to go back and reset them, okay? I was saying earlier, this is your company. If somebody asks you, here's one I saw it on a forum thread recently. If you have a client that wants to have your receipts from your purchases, from your trade accounts that you turned around and sold to them, the answer is no. Okay? The answer is no, because you wouldn't walk into any other business and ask to see what they paid for. What you paid for, whatever they're going to buy. Okay? So you don't walk into the steakhouse and ask them, hey, how much did you pay for this ribeye that you're now charging me $50 for? Okay, no. Don't think that because your name is on the business or because it is a personal service that we provide, that we're any less worthy of that respect. Okay, babe, if you've watched this long, let me just remind you that you are worthy and you are capable of running a good business. Okay, you can do hard things. You just have to acknowledge that. It is going to be hard for you to get out of this habit of people pleasing. Guilty, I get it, no judgment. You have to get out of the habit of people pleasing and feeling like you're small in order to step into your badassness as a CEO, okay? Treat it like a CEO. Separate yourself from your business. Michelle Lynn Interiors Group, okay? It's got my name on it. Now, I've tried to shorten it to ML Interiors Group just because that's a whole long thing. But if you're Debbie Designer, debbiedesign.com, whatever, just step out of that space and become the CEO. Okay, so there's the designer and then there's the CEO. You have to wear different hats when you're in business. There's a lot of other hats. We could probably do a whole episode on that. But today we're talking about the CEO hat and the designer hat. Okay, you have to toggle back and forth sometimes, and it's okay. That's what we're here for. And professionals hire professionals. Okay, if you are acting like a doormat, they're going to treat you like a doormat. It's up to you to step up and say, these are my boundaries. These are my boundaries. They don't have to play by them. They can always go find another designer. And that's okay. You might feel like, oh, I got to do whatever I can to keep this client. Okay, that is a scarcity mentality. Y'all, there's a lot of ugly houses out there. There's a lot of ugly houses. That one house that belongs to the asshole that's trying to be, in charge of your business, you don't need that. Wait until you find that one house that has lovely clients that respect what you do and appreciate your effort. Okay? So, welcome to my TED Talk. I just think it's so very important that you realize that you do not have to be a doormat. You do not have to feel deflated at the end of your day. Okay? Some days are always going to be better than others. But it's so much more fun to go to work with people who respect you, who pay you what your services are worth, and for you to walk out with your integrity. Okay? You will feel more aligned with yourself if you hold yourself in integrity. Do what you need to do as a business owner, okay? Sometimes that goes against with a designer hat. The designer wants to go do this, that, and the other and whatnot and just make it so pretty. The business owner saying that's not a good idea. These people are just gonna be a waste of time and energy, okay? Listen to yourself. Step back, trust your instinct, and realize we're not here to please people. We're here to run a business, and you can do that.